when we got started, we wanted to build a business that would allow us to be, flexible. Mostly because, unfortunately, like every year or two, something awful would happen and we'd go to hospital and we'd have to spend like 10 weeks there.
Yeah.
And so how the hell do you run a business that, that lets you be at the kids' hospital and not like at your desk?
Yeah.
And so we built it originally to, because we had to have flexibility, and now, thank God, he's in a great place. And
amazing.
So now we're taking the same flexibility and we're going nomad next month.
Welcome to Modern Entrepreneur. Today we have Taki Moore, who is a father of 6, a lover of tacos, and a scaler of coaches. Thank you so much for being here. I've actually known you for a long time now, years.
2008 or 9 or
and
something.
Yeah, and
Ontraport user.
Oh, Ontraport user extraordinaire.
No, like number 20 or something, apparently.
Really?
I didn't even know. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's probably true.
Yeah.
And then, so Australian bloke who basically teaches coaches to be more scalable and get customers.
Yeah.
And you're well known in the industry to be kind of the guy in that industry. So thank you so much for
pleasure.
being here.
I bumped into Hannah downstairs and she said, "How about that?" I'm like, "Yes."
Yes.
I haven't seen you for ages. So
perfect.
So glad.
So tell me what your unique skill set is.
I think I've got this unique position where I'm good at like 2 things and I suck at everything else, and that's been really helpful.
Perfect. Yeah.
Because then I don't have to like do all the crappy stuff. So I'm really good at learning and teaching, and most of the people who work with me say I'm really good at making things simple. So I'm good at frameworks. If I've got to do something more than once, I'm going to build a system for it, so I never have to think again. So now I've got systems for marketing and sales and coaching that mean you can be like world class without trying too hard or putting in too much time.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah, and it's definitely the thing that like stands out about you is that it's not just like we. At a certain level in your business, we're all systemizing things, right? But you just like pour out, like you said, frameworks. Like it's everything is like a
circle, a triangle, a
circle,
square, a worksheet.
Squares and arrows. It's a worksheet. It's and it just like you just dream in worksheets or
it's trained. It actually like I never used to, but when I ran my first ever workshop, I don't know however many years ago. I was like, okay, we've got a workshop. We need a workbook. We need a workbook. We need worksheets.
Yeah.
Crap! I've never done a worksheet, and so and then it forces you to think in steps. And so frankly, that's where it came from, is now I think in steps because I go, great, and then what does the worksheet look like? And now I build processes.
Yeah.
But it came originally from wanting to help clients. And then I think the second part of it was not wanting to reinvent the wheel. Like if you've got to write a promotion email, the hardest thing in the world is like you sit and you look at a blank screen or a blank page and you've got to like build something, a talk or a webinar or whatever. It's hard if you don't have a system.
Yeah.
And so I just, after building these worksheets, I realized actually I should be doing this for me. And now my brain just thinks that way.
Yeah, interesting. And it's been amazing because you've created a significant business with a ton of employees like all around the world.
Yeah, I think it's not huge. 16 or 17 people.
Oh, 16, 17, is that?
Yeah, mostly in the Phils.
Mostly in the Philippines.
Yeah.
And
Aussie, a couple of Aussies, American.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've done it working like kind of an absurdly low number of hours.
Yeah, what actually happened? Ethan, who you know, who loves you and associates you with winning the original iPad. Yeah, he was woo on his wheelchair out of it. Yeah, anyway. So Ethan, as you know, he's got autism and cerebral palsy and epilepsy. And when we got started, we wanted to build a business that would allow us to be, flexible. Mostly because, unfortunately, like every year or two, something awful would happen and we'd go to hospital and we'd have to spend like 10 weeks there.
Yeah.
And so how the hell do you run a business that, that lets you be at the kids' hospital and not like at your desk?
Yeah.
And so we built it originally to, because we had to have flexibility, and now, thank God, he's in a great place. And
amazing.
So now we're taking the same flexibility and we're going nomad next month.
Which is unbelievable.
Yeah, 9 months. You saw the calendar before. It's going to be an absolute hoot.
So all over the world for an entire year with your 3 of your 6 kids.
3 of my kids plus a nanny/teacher who we've hired to come with us to homeschooling sounds awesome until you think about I don't know, if you're a homeschool parent, awesome, but yeah, I was like, I don't think it's great. I want to be on the road. I don't really want to be doing that.
The school part.
Yeah. So we hired a teacher, Vera, who's amazing, coming on the journey, and then Jotham, one of our kids, is coming along as videographer.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's going to be like this 6-person traveling circus, 7-person traveling. It's
For
going
an
to be
entire
awesome.
year all over the world.
Yeah.
Incredible. So, and what is working in your business right now that kind of like allows you to continue to run and grow a business while you're like traipsing all over the world?
Yeah, a bunch of things. One little idea I got, I love how like sometimes one sentence can change your direction. I think it's like 2 sentences which really kind of helped us build what we've done. But just recently I was talking to Dean Jackson, who's a great marketer.
Yeah.
And he talked about the difference between thinking about how and thinking who. And so you go, I want to run webinars, or I want to automate my marketing, and why do I want that? Well, because it'll help me be more free or reach more people. And then what most people do is they think, well, how do I do that? And they go and they buy a bunch of courses and they learn how to do it. And so I don't think how. Like I have no desire to learn what buttons to click.
Yeah.
I just want to know who can do that for me. And when I find the who, then I get the how as a byproduct, but I shortcut a bunch of time. And so this is going to sound really awful, but we've been using Ontraport for years and years and years.
Yeah.
I haven't logged in for 2 years.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry.
No, it's perfect.
Right? But so what I do is I grab a Sharpie marker and I got this stand-up desk and a big fat roll of brown paper I like to work on, and I just like, drag it along, and I would like a campaign that does like this, and I take a photo of it and send it off to people, and then people just kind of log in and they press the buttons and they. It's amazing.
So you literally start with
pen and paper.
But who on my team or who out in the world
Correct.
can implement this strategy or this idea, and then if you don't find the person, you don't do the idea.
Well, I ask around until I find.
Until you find the person, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so I think, there are some things that you want to learn.
Yeah.
But when you get to scale, you can't do everything.
Not at all. You can't do much at all, actually.
You can't do much at all, right?
Yeah.
You guys know this better than anyone else. And so, like, how can we get it so that Landon's just doing the part that you're extraordinary at, and that the rest of the team does everything else?
Yes.
And, I'm in the unique position where I'm awful at most things and really good at 2 things.
Yeah.
So if I can spend my time, creating and then teaching,
Yeah.
I'm happy as a pig in mud. And the team likes it because I'm not like futzing around with their stuff, screwing things up all the time.
Yeah.
I can say, hey, how about this? I'd like this, and draw it, take a photo, and they'll go and build it. It's amazing.
So I'm curious, what happens when things don't work?
Oh, they often don't work.
Yeah.
Like the time that I sent an email to my whole list with nothing but the unsubscribe link.
Yeah, no, that probably worked for something.
Well, I actually did, because a friend of mine texted me and said, hey, what's with this email? I'm like, what email? Oh, crap. And so I sent out a email. And people thought I was like some marketing genius who was deliberately doing it to get their attention, which is silly.
Yeah.
It was just a mistake, clearly. What happens when things don't work?
I mean, if you're delegating, what you're saying is that you're starting from, like, who am I going to delegate or offload this to?
Yep.
You're starting from that. Like, most people come in here and they say, how I scale my business is I figure out how to do it, and then I hand a done, figured out thing off to the next person.
And there's totally a place for that. So what I'll do is I'll figure out exactly what I want. So there's this great guy, really good coach called Dan Sullivan, runs Strategic Coach in Toronto.
Yeah, we're taking his course.
All right. So I was part of it for a couple of years, and there was like 3 or 4 sheets of paper worksheets, which I found really helpful. One of them is called the impact filter, delegation filter.
Yeah, we use that too.
Right. And so every time I have a harebrained scheme, it's like, it's got 3 parts. It's like, what do I want, and why do we want it, and what does it look like when it's done right?
Right.
Yeah. So context and consequences, and then criteria. And so I'm not hands-on active with the button clicking.
Yeah.
But I sketch out what I want on one of these sheets. Send it to a project manager. We've basically got a project manager who helps us with marketing. Project manager helps us with making the program even better. They're the kind of the 2 big parts of my world. How do we get more people, and how do we make it better for them?
Yeah.
And so I'll sit down with one of the project managers, and I'm allowed 3 projects a quarter in each. That's the rules.
Right? That's their rules.
Yeah, right. Otherwise, I'm just like, 'cause, we have great ideas about every 12 minutes, and we want everyone to do them right now. Well, I do. And so I sit down with the project manager at the start of the quarter and go, here's the projects. And then we have a meeting once a week on this worksheet that we built called the Project Accelerator, which is, what's the project? What progress have we made? Where are we stuck? What's next? What are the actions? And so I don't need to know how to do it. I just need to be really clear about what it looks like when it's done right.
Yeah. And then it just works out. You just keep pushing until it does.
Yeah, totally. And usually the goal is to get 3 projects, marketing projects done, and 3 projects for the program done each quarter. Hopefully with a couple of weeks break at the end. And
there you go.
Totally.
That's how it's done.
Well, we're not perfect.
Of course.
But we're good at making beautiful things.
Yeah. So what do you, like what's next exciting? What are you learning right now?
What am I learning? Right now I'm learning, relearning probably, that an hour spent in my genius is probably more valuable than 20 hours doing what I'm crap at.
Even you get off track sometimes.
Well, yeah, we're hiring right now, a couple of new coaches, and I'm filling their role for this month. And I love it. I'm really glad it's short term.
Yeah.
But I'm working outside strengths. I'm a better teacher than I am a coach. And so in our business, we figured out pretty early on that if I can create the stuff and teach it, and then I've got a gun team who can go, hey Landon, let's apply Taki stuff to you.
Yeah.
Then clients get a better outcome and everyone's happier. So I'm kind of relearning about genius.
Yeah, you're just sticking to your zone of genius.
Yeah, and outside of the the rest of it.
Yeah. So if you started the business how long ago?
2009 maybe.
And if you could like travel back in time and give yourself a piece of advice at that time, what would it be?
Probably three things. Firstly, I'd say, hang on, dude, it's going to be amazing. Stick with it.
Okay.
Yeah, like just enjoy the ride. It's going to be a blast. That's the first thing I'd say. Secondly, I'd say be quicker to hire and delegate. Because when I first started, I WordPressed my own, I coded my own website.
Yeah.
Which is, if you'd seen any of my coding skills, you'd wet yourself in hysterics. So that'd be number two, is be quicker to hire. I think when I started out, I read Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Workweek.
Oh my gosh.
And there's one sentence in there that really hit me, and it said, at the time he was living in Argentina, he was selling, I think, supplements online, and his team were in India.
Yeah.
And he said, amazing things happen when you earn dollars, live on pesos, and pay your team in rupees.
Yeah.
I was like, oh. So 2 weeks later, I hired Ashley, my first ever VA, who's still with us, thank God. And I was terrified, what if there's not enough for her to do, and this is going to cost me, And I pretty quickly realized that, that I could fill her up and a bunch of other hers for a long, long time. So be quicker to delegate, to be second. I think the third thing would be, and maybe this is easy to say now, but I think the third thing I would say is the quickest way to get leads is to buy traffic.
Interesting. You're not the first person that said that either.
Right.
To start out just buying traffic.
Yeah, right. Because you could do a $20 test today, $20 today and tomorrow, within $40, in a couple of days, how much it's going to cost to get a lead, an opt-in, a webinar register, and a client.
And you know whether you have a real business or not.
Right. And if this is the magic metric and we're getting leads for less than, then we'll just do more.
Just do more, yeah. It's that simple.
But instead, I JV'd for a while and then content marketed for a while, and
work yourself up to that $20.
Yeah, exactly. Now I'm ready to spend the $20 for whatever.
So, great. Start spending money earlier. What would you like your legacy to be?
Well, I think, I feel really lucky. I feel like I get to work with coaches who, and in my opinion, they're amazing, wonderful people. I'm thrilled for the chance to help. And I don't know about legacy forever. For my kids, I want to leave a real sense of possibility. And for my clients, most of my clients are just amazing people who have got incredible skills to share, and they share it with half a dozen or a dozen people.
Yeah.
And I just want to amplify what they do.
Sad sometimes, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like best kept secret. It's awful.
Yeah.
And so if I can help them, make more money and have more fun and make a bigger difference, then I think, we've done good work.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is, I don't know if this is going to land for anybody, but it means a lot to me, is I think a lot about the intersection between business and art. And for ages I've been known, people have known that my slides are beautiful and my content's great. And about 3 years ago, I had this kind of aha, which was like my content is my art. What if the whole business could be beautiful? And so I'm obsessed with how do we get our kind of DNA into everything we do. Every email we send, every website that somebody visits, every conversation they have with us. If every touch point can have our DNA all through it, and we end up creating a really, kind of a beautiful contribution.
Beautiful brand and an experience all across the board.
Totally.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm a bit obsessed about that at the moment.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I feel you. So modern entrepreneur, what do you think it means to be a modern entrepreneur?
Well, if you think about the word modern and you juxtapose it against old school.
Traditional or old school, yeah.
Right, so what can you do now that you couldn't before? Well, like, you could be anywhere now. Like, there's people in ridiculous niches. I heard years ago, there's some guy who makes like, I don't know, $500,000 a year selling information products to the breeders of Vietnamese potbelly pigs. Like, if that's a thing, then pretty much anyone can do anything. Like, if you get away with that and call that a business and do, you know,
$500,000 a year. Yeah.
Right. I mean, $500,000. Like, you know, I'm sure there's people watching this who that's an aspirational number, and people who are looking down at that going, I remember back when I was at $500,000. But what that says is you can pretty much turn whatever your thing is into a thing these days.
Yeah.
It's never been easy to reach people or to share your message. So for me, a modern entrepreneur is someone who gets more of three things, you know, in no particular order, but you know, more money, more meaning, more freedom. So money is, you know, the kind of income that you can make. Meaning is the kind of contribution or impact you can have, and freedom, the amount of kind of lifestyle you can have. Like, I've got 6 kids, dude.
Yeah.
A couple of special needs type situations, and you know, life was really complicated and crazy, and so we were able to make a business that was really simple. And I think a modern entrepreneur is someone who can you know, simplify their business and amplify their impact. Dude, that was a soundbite. That's a tweetable.
Yeah, boom,
Cameraman.
tweetable.
Bam! That sounded deep.
That was deep. Awesome. Thank you so much for doing it, Taki. I
Pleasure.
appreciate you being here. Will you sign our wall?
I'd love to. I've got some. I walked in, I saw some friends on this wall, so
yeah, bunch.
Entrepreneurs will go into business and they think that, hey, build the better mousetrap, right? Just build it and they will come.
Yeah.
And then they realize it's not true. After their best friends, their parents, and maybe a couple of high school buddies are done buying from them, they realize they have to get the word out.
Yeah.
And they have to get paid for what they sell. And then they realize, oh my gosh, I better get good at sales and marketing before I go out of business.